Hi everyone, Callie here. In this video I'm going to build and review the Piranha Plant, which is part of the Super Mario theme. It is set 71426, it contains 540 pieces, it retails for $59.99 US dollars, and it released on November 6, 2023. It's an 18 plus set, so it comes in the black box packaging, and while there are no minifigures in the set, it does have some amazing print pieces. I bought this set a couple months ago after picking up the Nintendo 64 question mark on sale at the end of last year, and building it to celebrate Mario Day was perfect timing to finally crack open this set. I did have a poll in my community tab and this was picked over the question mark. So thanks for voting, and I think I'm going to do more of those because it was kind of fun to let you guys decide what I was going to build next. The set has 6 build stages, and as you can see 1 through 4 is all the green and 5 and 6 is the red Piranha Plant head. The set comes with one instruction booklet. It begins with the usual VIP write-up, and then we start getting into the origins of the Piranha Plant itself. The next page is where nostalgia really starts to hit for me because I grew up with these games. My favorite Mario game is probably Super Mario Galaxy, although Mario Kart's pretty cool. Then we have a nice little write-up with the designers, which is always a sweet thing to read. And then we finally get to how the build stages are going to come together. This looks like a great build and I can't wait to get started. Stage 1 begins with building the trapdoor at the bottom of the pipe. It's actually a really cool little play feature that I'll show you obviously at the end, and here's just a little bit more technique to make that function actually work. Most of this build stage is dedicated to creating that internal rectangular structure that we'll actually add all of the beautiful curved plate and tile onto. There's a little more technique work here at the top to create the ball bearings so that the stem of the plant can actually tilt backwards and forwards. All that's left to do now is to add a little bit of scaffolding for the arches to go at the very top to create the top of the pipe. So by the end of stage 1 we have all the internal scaffolding required for adding all of the curved tiles and slopes in the next stage to finish off the pipe. Here is a little play function. You've already got a little tile on there, you push it and the trapdoor opens, and that will release the coins when we finally get there at the end of the build. It's very smooth and works really well. In the center there you can see where there's a little square area to put the stem, and that black square is on ball bearing so it will tilt backwards and forwards. Stage 2 is all about making this thing pretty. So first we have to layer a few bits of plate in the top there to even it out, and then we can add all of our beautiful curved tiles, and that just creates a gorgeous polished finish. There's not one stud showing on this by the time we are done. It's all symmetrical. I found the stage really relaxing and enjoyable because of how beautiful it looks when we're done, and it looks exactly like you would expect from the video game. It's a faithful recreation of an extremely iconic image that I grew up with. It's the right color, it's the right shape. Lego did a fantastic job. One final look at that internal structure because I didn't show it before. And there you can see how the pivot is going to work. So after 2 stages we have the pipe, and now it's time to get started on the plant itself. Stage 3 builds the stem of the Piranha Plant, and I apologize my camera's not quite in the perfect place so you can't quite see it being built. Although it's quite a small stage in terms of piece count, there's actually a lot going on here, and by the time we finish the stem there's 3 key components. At the bottom we have the square that will fit nicely into the pipe that we made before. In the center we've got 2 ball bearings for the leaves that we're about to build, and at the top we've got the joint for the flower to actually sit on. The stem fits nicely into the pipe as we would expect, and it's all polished and tiled at the sides as well, so it fits perfectly with the aesthetic of the pipe. Those ball bearings need some leaves, and that's what we're going to build next. It's actually 2 of the same build. The leaves are actually quite part intensive, and they start with hinges with little plates on top before we add some snot work that will ultimately be covered with polished pieces before this is complete. What I like about it is it hinges in the middle, so it means you can kind of set the leaf at a different angle. A couple of different colored plates sit on top, and I actually really like that. It adds a nice sort of adds good contrast and texture to the build. You can see we have the ball bearing at the bottom of the leaf there. Unfortunately, they don't make that part in green, otherwise I'm sure Lego would have picked that so it would blend in better. But I think once we put it on the stem, it won't matter too much. So at the end there, we have 2 leaves, and you can see the back and the front there. Obviously the back isn't much to look at. I do like the way it hinges in the middle, so you can sort of open it up a little bit if you want. I always do like it when Lego gives you an option to customize how you display your models. So I'm just going to pop this on now, and it should just click into place. If I can line it up correctly, there we go. And on the other side too. The picture has them sort of more horizontal. I've got them vertical right now because I want to look at how pretty it is before I set it up for display. But you could kind of see like it's almost like it's waving. Actually, it reminds me of a little butterfly. It's cute. Stage 5 is dedicated to creating the structure of the piranha plant head itself. What I was surprised by was this is all Technic. There's nothing else in here. It's just Technic pieces of looking at pins and ball bearings, etc. And so you really need to pay attention when you're using the instructions to be able to get it just right. And it is a little sore on my fingers, or at least I found it to be. And that's one of the reasons why this is appropriately classed as an 18 plus set. It's definitely not for the more junior builders out there. But when you're done, it actually looks stunning. I like how the Technic has given us all that texture for the roof of the mouth. And of course, it has that pivot in the middle so that the mouth can open and close. It doesn't rotate in any other direction as you would expect. Those large white pieces were an excellent choice to create a faithful recreation of those piranha lips. They look absolutely perfect. Bonus of the Technic is actually being able to use those teeth elements to sit upright, and so when you actually close it, they come together. And we also have that bracket there at the bottom where it's going to connect to the head. But of course, the big thing is that the mouth function is absolutely on point, and I had to, sorry. Now that we have all that Technic structure in place, stage 6 is all about polishing off the head. This is where a lot of fun comes in because we get to use those beautiful print pieces. And mostly it's just about putting them down and then adding in some plate at the bottom for structural support and so that it sits on that Technic base perfectly. Technic section right there at the bottom of the base of the head where we actually connect it to the Technic base that we built before. And then we're actually just repeating the build again in a mirrored fashion for the other side of the Piranha Plant. Adding finishing touches like this always makes the end of build a lot of fun. And then finally, once all the pieces are in place, it's time to put the ball bearing on top and bang! We have a Piranha Plant. The finish on the top of this Piranha Plant is absolutely perfect. It's so polished. It helps, of course, they've got a lot of large pieces at the top there to make that happen. One thing I did notice when I put the head on is this is an incredibly top heavy build. And so even though that stem has sort of a tilt ability, the model is so top heavy that if you did display it with the stem facing forward, the bottom of the pipe actually isn't sitting flush with the shelf, so it is really quite unstable and will fall over. So you want to set it so it's tilting backward. It is a nice little play feature if you're playing with it, but not really how you want to display it. Of course, the main focal point of this is going to be the piranha head itself. Because it's on that ball joint, you can kind of display it at any angle you want. You can make it go round, up and down. You can have it upside down if you really wanted to. And of course, the way it's constructed with all that Technic, you can have that as open or as closed as you like. Now, I haven't pointed this bit harder at the back here because it's on both sides and it's not perfectly flush. The rest of the surface is beautifully round, but here we've just got a little, like I'm going to call it a little tufty bit that's sticking out the back, and that's to cover the Technic pin and a down to part usage. That's just how it looks. Luckily though, it's at the back. It's not a 360 model. It's not something you're going to want to see from that angle, so you're probably not going to notice it. I'm sort of playing around with how I want the head to look here. As you can see, you can kind of have it open, but I think it looks a little better more closed because you get a better idea of the teeth, and then you sort of see less of that Technic and you get to enjoy a little bit more of that beautiful print pieces. Now I'm going to sort of play around with the leaves and figure out how I want to set them up. They can fully close if that was something that you really wanted to do, maybe if you're setting up a little scene of some kind. And obviously because they're in ball joints, they can go in any pretty much angle that you want. So let me see if they look good all flat open. Maybe not quite. I think in the picture they had them more to the side and open, but you get the idea. You can kind of play around with it a lot, and it's a fun model. I think it's something that everyone will enjoy. Time to take a look at that play feature. You just push this button in, the coins fall out. I did put the coins in already. They are print pieces. You get 2 of them in the set. Close the little trap door, and then there's a little slot at the back there. Pop that pop the coins in and push the button and out they come. It's a play feature that works really, really well. And it's sometimes play features don't work every time, but this one so far for me has. And I do like the coins. I will keep them in the set though for safekeeping, otherwise I will absolutely lose them. This set used a lot of building techniques, and I think that's part of why it was such a joy to put together. It had 3 very distinct stages, so it's easy to pace out if you wanted to, or even if you actually wanted to build this with another person, you could share it. There's no problem doing that. For a display set, it's got a lot of playability to it. All the elements are on ball joints so you can display it however you want. And it has that really great coin trapdoor, which is a nice little Easter egg because it's not something you automatically will see that the set can do. I think because of those large print pieces and of course those Technic elements, which are always more expensive than just plate and tile, $60 is probably fair for this license set. It's certainly nice to have a 18 plus Mario set that isn't hundreds of dollars, unlike the Question Mark and Bowser. Of course, the set can also appeal to non-Nintendo fans because it looks kind of like it would work in the botanical collection. A little bit more dangerous than your average flower, but maybe that's what you're going for. Overall, LEGO absolutely nailed this design. The execution isn't quite perfect, as I pointed out. The ball joint on the stem is a little unstable. I think the head probably rotates more than it needs to, and there's that little tufty bit at the back that ruins that smooth top. But none of those minor complaints can take anything away from how beautiful this looks. It's cracking on a shelf. I think the green is so vibrant with the red, it just sort of stands out amongst other sets. I definitely recommend it if you like the look of it, and I am thrilled to have it as part of my collection. I hope you enjoyed my build and review, and if you did, please do hit the like button. It helps the channel out a lot, and of course, subscribe for more great content coming out in the near future. As always, thanks for watching, and happy Mario Day!